It's time for Bring Your Own Lunch, a podcast for your whole face, with your host, Dave T. Koenig.
Alrighty, come on in, have a seat, welcome. This is the Bring Your Own Lunch podcast at bringyourownlunch.com, the magic of iTunes, the majesty of Stitcher, and however you found your way to download this podcast where we talk personal stories about the business. I thank you. As you heard at the top, my name is Dave T. Koenig. I'm an actor, writer, director, producer, comedian, all-around swell fella. I once got knocked out in the first round of a spelling bee because I didn't add the E at the end of the word breathe, ironically enough. And, of course, the host of the podcast you're listening to right now, Bring Your Own Lunch, BYOL, is the hashtag we use on Facebook and Twitter if you want to play along at home. And it would be so cool if you did. This week, got a great guest, Kelly Calabrese. It's a friend of mine from the improv days, and I think I say that a lot, but it's because improv was a pretty influential part of my life, especially for the mid-2000s. I was very heavily involved and got to know some great people and still maintain relationships with a large number of them as we speak. You've heard me talk about some people who I have already had on the show, like, let's say, David Neil Levin, who I incidentally ran into today on my way to an audition, and he and I chatted for a bit. And sometimes when you do stuff in this business, you create really intense relationships and friendships with people that can last you a lifetime, and that's one of the real reasons why I started this podcast. So that's a testament to that. And Kelly Calabrese, another somebody who I used to perform with at the People's Improv Theater. In fact, in one of the same groups as David Neil Levin. We were all in a training class together. Kelly and David and several other people were in a class taught by Ali Faranakian, who was another guest on this show. We ended up creating a team of our own, what they call an independent team, called, what do we call it? It was called Level 5, but then that was just because that was the level we were at. It was called Reply All. That was the name of the group, and there's a very good chance that we might hear some other people from that group coming on to this podcast in the future. But today it's Kelly. Kelly is an actor and a journalist and a writer with a very fascinating background. We'll hear how she got started in Staten Island as a child actor and has developed her skills through improv and through training with primarily Sande Shurin, who runs a prominent studio in New York City, and what she's been doing as far as working the red carpet as an interviewer and a spokesperson for various companies that you've heard of. So Kelly's got a really cool story, some great stuff that she's doing, and you'll hear the improv come out. We sort of speak the language of improv at different points during this interview, and we have some fun with it. So you'll hear some really cool, true stuff from Kelly, and then we do some fun stuff, and it all kind of melds together into a really interesting conversation. So I'm glad I got to bring that to you. Got a few things I wanted to talk about this week. First of all, I was hipped to a new musical act that I'd never heard of before called the Suitcase Junket. It was something I found on Reddit, and I'm going to link to it on the website. So if you want to go to bringyourownlunch.com, you can see the actual video that I saw that blew me away. And it's really hard to explain what he does. Probably best if I just let you watch the video. But one of the things that's featured in that is actually what got me to see the Suitcase Junket's video, and that is overtone singing. If you're not familiar with overtone singing, it's a very specific technique wherein one person sings multiple tones using just their mouth. So you're hearing two different notes at the same time. There's kind of the BuzzFeed picked it up and they started running with it. Just showing this one video of this woman who has perfected the idea of singing two notes at the same time. And somebody in a thread on Reddit had mentioned the Suitcase Junket. And then I realized, as I'm watching this, I kind of figured out how to do that on my own several years ago. I've been spent a large part of my life just picking up and practicing things that have seemingly no value in the real world. But one of them was trying to figure out how I can make two sounds with my with my mouth at the same time, or play two notes at the same time. And mine's a very rudimentary, very basic version of what is going around now. Is this overtone thing is starting to be understood by more people. But for the first time ever, I'm going to demonstrate my use of overtone singing right here, right now. And it's not very impressive, but I'm going to do it for you because this is the podcast, and this is my opportunity to do things that are outside of my comfort zone. So here is my rendition of two notes at the same time through a very basic version of overtone singing. Okay, you ready? Now, I don't know if you could pick that up. I was playing it, and then I kind of was able to almost whistle at the same time. So you heard, so put it together, and I'm going, and that's my version of overtone singing. And I hopefully did not blow out your ears, and that you are continuing to listen. But that's kind of a fun little thing. But really, the more important thing is I think the Suitcase Junket. And the guy behind it is brilliant, just a genius musician, and needs to be seen because his video only had like 4,500 views. And I'm like, why isn't this guy got 1.5 million views on this one song? The one song is called Eileen. And if you want to search for it on YouTube, it's Eileen, the Suitcase Junket, but you can also find the link and, in fact, the video at bringyourownlunch.com. Also, I've been auditioning quite a bit, and today I not only ran into David Nail Levin, but I ran into some other people at an audition at one of the audition places here in New York City, and was talking to somebody about etiquette. And it got me to thinking about some of the things that I think are pet peeves of mine at auditions. Let's just limit it to 2 today, Dave, okay? Because we don't really want to sit here complaining, but it's with a purpose. One of the things that really drives me nuts is when people go to an audition, whether it's for a voiceover where you're just reading the script into a microphone, or it's an on-camera thing where you're being filmed talking. People will go to the audition and then they'll just get the script, or what they call the sides. Those are that's just a fancy term for the script that you'll be reading in the audition, and they will pour over it and do a rendition of it to themselves while they're sitting there in the waiting room waiting to go in. Now, I'm all for preparation. I don't want to tell anybody not to prepare. But I think there's certain ways to do it and certain ways not to do it. And what I don't think is very positive in terms of preparing to go into a room is sitting there mumbling to yourself. And sometimes you'll see people just sit there. They'll get their script in their hand or their sides, and they'll look at it and they'll go and they'll just get really serious about it. And they'll go, and that's what you'll hear. And as I'm sitting there just trying to relax and get ready to go into the room, I'm sitting next to somebody going, and that drives me nuts. Now, some people will think that's the best way to go about it. I think if you really want to get some practice on what you're saying out loud, go into the hallway or go into the bathroom or something and actually say it out loud. Really use your instrument of your voice and your body and all that stuff, and say the stuff out loud. I don't know that there's much value in that's just not me. I'm not going to try to change the world on that one. The other one that I especially talked about with a guy I ran into today, I probably won't mention who it was because we were sitting there doing a bit of complaining, and there's no point in identifying who that was. I'll own up to my own complaining, but no need to throw anybody else into the bus. We were talking about how things have changed, and over the years, some of the common courtesy stuff has kind of gone out the window, and the thing he mentioned was elevator courtesy. Now, if you're not familiar with elevator courtesy, and it's very possible you are not familiar with it, it's sort of this unspoken thing between actors going to an audition. We're all there. We have different times that you're asked to show up, and a lot of times in commercial and voiceover auditions, you're given a very specific slot. Let's say my slot was 12:10. Someone else might have 12:20, and somebody before me might have 12 or 12:05. And so they gave a very specific time to show up. That's a union thing, and they have to give us specific slots. But the casting people are very flexible sometimes, and sometimes you can show up a little bit early. Sometimes you might show up a couple minutes late, but if you show up, you get there and you sign in. And generally, when you sign in, that's the order you go in. So if you sign in before me, you go in first, I go in next, and the guy after me who signs in goes after me, and so on and so forth. So whoever signs in first goes first. But because we're all there together, we're all doing the same thing, there's an unspoken rule that if you get onto the elevator first, you get to sign in before me, even though I might walk out of the elevator first and sign in before you. And it's something that I've held to. It's something that I kind of learned when I was first starting out. You just kind of get the idea. Plus, I like having common courtesy. So if I realize I get somewhere, and the only reason I got to sign in before you did is because you went into the elevator first and you got out of your way, or you moved out of my way by moving further into the elevator, I stepped in so I could step out first and sign in. Well, I think the nice thing to do is turn around and say, hey, you were on the elevator first. You sign in before me so that you go first, and then I'll go. That's sort of gone out the window. Some people are really too interested in elbowing other people out. In fact, today there was a guy who cut in front of me not just once, but twice in my effort to sign in to the audition. And it was kind of unnerving. I'd never really experienced that before, because by and large, my experiences have been very, very good. I even brought up to my friend I was talking to the other day, I had to get out and back uptown for something, and things were kind of running late, so I just asked the person who was in front of me, would you mind if I went in? And she was so gracious and so nice, and she let me go in front of her, and I will always remember that. And if I see her again, I'm going to do my best to help her out. So to be cut in front of twice in the midst of having this conversation with my friend was very, 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 very frustrating and kind of comical at the same time. So that's why I bring it up. I want to bring back elevator courtesy to what we're doing here. So that means if you get to a building and there's a line of people waiting to get on the elevator, and person A goes in first, they go to the back of the elevator because that's common courtesy. Person B goes in later than they do, and they're closer to the doors. When you get out, person B allows person A to sign in first. So person A goes first, person B goes second. That way, everybody kind of maintains a sense of community about it, because I think that's something to be, there's something to be said for that. And so that's my wish. After today, you will go and you will exercise elevator courtesy. Even if you're not going to auditions, I think if there's a chance for you to allow somebody else the opportunity to go first, because that's the right thing to do, maybe you'll go and do that as well. And I think we will all be happier members of society if we can agree on that basic social contract. Terts McGurts. All right, as always, got to thank some people. Banuba for providing the music at the beginning, middle, and end of this show. It's such an essential part of this show. Banuba.net, BANOOBA.net is where you will find Banuba, find out where they're going, where they will be, and download some of their music because they are awesome. Last week we had the New York Short Film Shootout number 3. Vinny Petrosini and I successfully landed that ship. And we will be having another one coming up soon. We don't have the exact date yet, so we're still in negotiations, but as soon as possible, we will pass along the information. But you could always follow along either by going to nysfso.com, which directs to our Facebook page, or you can follow us on Twitter at nysfso. And, please don't forget to go to our website, bringyourownlunch.com. You can follow us on Twitter, NYSFS. What am I talking about? You can follow us on Twitter at BYOL Podcast. Go to facebook.com/bringyourownlunch. But more than anything else, if you want to help us out right now, one of the best things you can do, and it costs you absolutely nothing, is to go on iTunes and rate and review and share this podcast with people. That helps us in the eyes of iTunes and helps us gain some much needed leverage in terms of our placement among other podcasts out there, because there are plenty of choices and a lot of good ones. And we're just hoping to be among those that people have an opportunity to choose from. So please go rate, review, subscribe, share this on iTunes. I thank you. All right, let's get into it with Kelly Calabrese, actor, journalist, writer, improviser, lover of beats. Let's find out. Here's Kelly. Enjoy. I'm very surprised this is your first podcast.
Yes, I am a podcast virgin, and I also think that was the first time I was quiet for 10 whole seconds.
Yeah, we're going to cut that part out. We're not going to start with the 10 seconds of silence.
Well, but it was riveting, the 10 seconds of silence. Anyone who missed those 10 seconds of silence, really missed out.
It was very contemplative, I suppose. It was a chance to really catch up on who you are as a person. And if you're wondering why we're talking about 10 seconds, I just record 10 seconds of silence before we actually get into anything. That way, later on, I could filter out any extra noise in the room. But for you, it was an added bonus.
Yes, because I'm never quiet. And you hear things in your room that you never hear before.
Yeah, it's kind of freaky.
It is.
When you have microphones up and you have headphones on and all that cool stuff.
It is. Let's never be silent again.
Let's never be. Well, hopefully the goal is that at least for the next hour or so, we're not going to be silent.
That's right.
So Kelly Calabrese, can I say where we are?
Oh, please.
It's not too it's a pretty big city, so it's not like people are going to hunt you down, but we're in Hoboken.
Hoboken, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Home of Frank Sinatra and the first game of baseball.
That's exactly right. I mean, it is a very historical place, and it's a very cool place. But as a driver, it's a place with 15,000 cars and 200 spots, and the most draconian parking regulations I've ever seen in my life. I was literally never so intimidated parking my car as I was trying to get to your place.
It is a place that tests your patience, and I think that is why most of the restaurants here are bring your own, because they realize that once you've arrived here, you need to drink a lot to get over the stress that you've gone through.
Yeah. I guess people spend 7 or 8 hours in the restaurant once they get to that.
You have to, because you never want to return to your car again.
I don't blame them. I honestly don't. All right, so you and I have known each other for we've known each other for a long time at this point. I think. Yeah, we met through the People's Improv Theater. And you and I were both studying improv there, but I think both of us have kind of moved on to other things. But what got you started in doing improv? Let's start there.
I had taken a one-woman writing class at the New School, and one of the girls who had taken it with me, she was putting on her show at the PIT, at the People's Improv Theater, and I went to see her. I didn't know what the place was, and leaving, they had all these brochures about following your fear and facing your fears. And I thought, that sounds awful and exciting. So I took the flyers home, and I didn't know anything about improv. And I thought, I've got a lot of fears to follow. Why not give it a shot?
There you go. Who was the person who taught the class?
Who taught my first class? That was Kurt.
Oh, that was his first improv class. But who taught the writing class?
Oh my God, I'm too old to remember all that stuff.
Oh, come on.
Like, who taught my first? Well,
you said you took that
one-woman show class.
The woman show class
at New School.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Oh, you don't remember?
All.
Oh, but it just performed at the Pit.
Right.
Oh, so it wasn't like a Pit.
No, it wasn't a Pit
that's
thing.
Interesting.
It was a New School thing.
I made a big time assumption based on the fact that they do a lot of the one person show stuff there.
I know, and you know what they say about assuming.
Yes, somebody says that weird thing about asses and yous and me's and stuff. Yeah. So you've decided to just jump in with improv, and you studied with Kurt Braunohler, I guess. Then as your first. How was that? Because he's gone on to do a bunch of stuff since.
He's crazy amounts of intelligently funny. As a matter of fact, I would come home every night, and my husband started to have to say, "Stop talking about Kurt." I was like, he did this, and then he said this, and that was so funny. He said, "Stop talking about Kurt. Seriously, stop."
How? Well, we're going to jump around a little bit, but you just mentioned your husband. You've been married for how long?
Forever and 24 hours.
So I guess this was maybe 10 years. Well, not 10 years ago. I guess 10 years ago. How long had you been married at that point? And was he fairly certain that you weren't just going to run out the door chasing after Kurt, going, Kurt?
I like to always leave a certain amount of question whether or not I may run out the door.
Oh, that's probably a good strategy.
Yeah, it keeps you. I like to be wooed every day, but luckily it takes very little to woo me.
Okay.
Like if you just hand me my coffee in the morning, I'm happy.
You're wooed. So you're difficult, but you're easy, which is kind of a nice dichotomy.
I know.
It makes for an interesting day, I'm sure, for your husband.
I feel like I'm on Alanis Morissette song.
And his name is also Dave. And every time I look at you on Facebook, or I see you posting, not every time, but you're often posting things about his athletic endeavors. And I'm coming into your house as also someone named Dave. So I think I've taken the average health of someone named Dave in this apartment and halved it. What are you involved also as much as he is? Because tell me about what he does.
Well, my husband's a triathlete, which is swimming, biking, and then running. And there's various lengths that you can torture yourself with. The smallest is called a sprint, and that's like a 0.7 miles, I think is. And then there's only about 13 miles on the bike, and then 3 miles of running. But then he just did a half Ironman a week ago, and that's 1.6 miles of swimming and 57 miles on the bike, and then a half marathon. That's from the outside, that sounds like the definition of insanity. Oh, yeah. I think that maybe people who do half Ironmans and Ironman think that in a previous life they were really evil and need to pay for it. It seems like self-punishment. It does. Are you at all on board with doing that stuff? I mean, or do you just watch? I love watching it. It's really exciting watching people torture themselves. But you get to see maybe like one snippet of it, right? You don't get to actually watch like the race itself, because if someone's going on a 57-mile bike ride, it's hard to watch them the whole way through. So how much you get to see like this tiny little thing, but you're not that dedicated to doing long distance running or swimming or anything like that, or are you? No, I work out every day, but that's just because I'm vain, but not because. The truth comes out. This is good. not because I want to torture myself, but no, I never would do those types of lanes. I'm not that type of competitive. I feel as if I've already put myself as being an actor and a writer. I already put myself out there on the line way too many times. I don't need another one. Fair enough. No, I don't blame you. I mean, I think like, okay, I have swam, I have run, and I rode a bike once, and it's like, that's enough. That's enough. All right. So let's get back into the improv thing. So you studied with Kurt, and it was enough to keep you going. Mm-hmm. So you stayed, and who else did you study with? Well, we did 5 levels there. So gamut of amazing instructors, including like Matt Donnelly, who in his amazing Herald form that he taught us all. And then our group really was so tight, and we ended up going into the house teams there for a while, which was really fun, and performing as a house team at the Pit. You had come to it. Now that was not something that you had started out like thinking you were going to do. You said you haven't, like, you were following some fear. So let's go back a little bit earlier than that. Well, can we talk a little bit about like what you went to school for, or what you thought you were going to pursue? Oh my God, I can't believe you just asked me that. Well, I can ask again. See, but you can't see in a podcast my stone cold look. Yeah, you get scared for a second. I'm really scared. I'm a very scary 5'3" girl. As a matter of fact, my kickboxing instructor at the New York Sports Club called me a mighty midget. I would be very afraid to say the wrong thing today as we record this. But what? All right. So tell me a little bit about like, what did you start out thinking you were going to do? I studied creative writing and psychology double major at Binghamton University. And before that, I had done children's theater since starting at 7 years old. So okay, so you had it plays. In you. Yeah. And then I think I kind of thought I did a lot of that and wanted to do something more. Writing has always been a huge passion of mine. So creative writing. And then I love people, so psychology. And then I went into sales for a while. I didn't mean to, actually. It just kind of tripped into it and fell because I'm a klutz. But I meant to be a writer. But when I graduated, the starting salaries of editorial, which is where you went if you were a writer, was so low. Right. And then I went on one sales assistant interview, and it was double. And I'm not good at math, but I know I like more. Yeah. Twice as much is pretty easy to figure out. That's good. That's better. Yeah. Yes, that is better than less. I don't need the AT&T commercials to tell me that.
What kind of subtle plug? What kind of sales are we talking about here?
I sold print advertising.
Okay, so I mean, it's sort of in the ballpark of entertainment, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, advertising sales and entertainment productions go hand in hand, but I'm sure that wasn't enough for you. So that kind of led you towards actual performing. How much, when you said you did children's theater when you were young, was that local? Was that bigger than that? Was it? Just tell me about the productions you were involved in.
Originally, we started in a very small place called the Seaview Children's Theater in Staten Island, and it is still live today. So everybody, right after this podcast, should go check it out and go see Children's Theater there. Seaview Playwrights Children's Theater.
Seaview Playwrights? Is that what you said?
Say it 16 times in a row. Seaview Playwrights Children's Theater.
Oh, I just want to make sure I know it. You know,
it's a tongue twister.
Google friendly though, I'm sure. Yeah. So, okay. So how many productions were you involved in?
Oh, all the time. That's what we did. My mother tried to shove my sister and I both did it, tried to shove us out of the house and get us out of her hair as often as possible. I don't blame her.
Why don't you blame her?
Because we're a lot.
How old is you? Well, I'm not going to ask how old anybody is, but what's the difference in age between you and your sister?
Less than 2 years.
Oh, so there you go. You guys were like almost twins.
It's like wham bam.
Okay. So that means you had two girls going through a lot of the same stuff all at the same time.
Yeah. And girls are harsh.
I have a child and one of them is a girl and there are times when it is.
Yeah. You're in trouble.
A challenge. Yeah. Yeah. The little guy is like seemingly easier, but much more prone to bang his head into things. I mean, I think that's like the difference there. So you had the little bit of a background, and did you pursue it in any other way besides the children's theater? Or
in high school, I was like the lead in the plays, and then in college, I didn't study it, but I continued to do the local theater program there. Right.
So you always had that sort of in you to just keep doing it, but you didn't. Necessarily, I talked to a lot of people, and the vast majority of the people who have been on this podcast, they didn't start off thinking they were going to be actors. They didn't go to school thinking they were going to be an actor. A couple of cases they did, but for the most part, they're people who studied something else for some reason other than they really wanted to. It was almost like they thought they couldn't be an actor. Is that something that does that relate to your experience? Or
I'm not sure that I ever really had this passion at that point to be an actor, or I would have studied it.
Okay.
I think that I was wanted to be the writer most. I think that's the thing. Writing really interested me. Mm-hmm. I've always loved the smell of books. I would walk into bookstores and just inhale them, and I love books. So I hope that the e-readers don't murder all the printed books.
Oh, yeah. Well,
because there's this big battle, going on between them.
Right. Yes, of course. Well, you tell me what your perspective is, between ebooks and, I mean, I guess we're maybe treading on ground that's already been well trod, but tell me what you look at when you see the world of publishing and where you think it's going.
Oh, well, it's definitely going in digital form. And, ebooks have so many great opportunities going down the road in multimedia dimensions. But I just love the printed book. I don't think it's going anywhere quite yet.
Yeah, I think there's still a lot of passion for holding a book in your hands, as inconvenient as that might be as a data format. It's still got a lot of appeal to it. And there's times I thought the other day, actually, I had this thought in my head, like one of my biggest fears is that in 5 years, the entire grid goes down and nobody has any electricity. And for me, the biggest fear was that all of the pictures I've taken and the video of my kids will be unavailable to me.
Right.
And that's unfathomable, and it's like we do really kind of need to make sure we have stuff printed out, like in certain cases. So without print, we're kind of screwed if we don't have electricity.
We really should start thinking about the end of the world right now.
I think about it. Not done. I mean, like I on the drive here, that's all I thought about.
Do you want to see my bunker?
Sure. Yes. That's a weird question to have to answer. And with a picture of your husband staring at me from the corner there.
I've gone from being a podcast version to asking him if you want to see my bunker pretty fast.
You've come a long way.
Right.
You've really evolved since our 10 seconds of silence. That changed you.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That 10 seconds of silence changed you as a person.
It did. And you did point out I'm difficult but easy.
Yes,
so
that's true.
Easy part.
That's true. All right, so let's somehow retrack this. You went through the pit and you performed there, mm-hmm. and then I guess that sort of brought out the performer in you. So where did you go from there?
It did. So I started taking classes, and one of the most pivotal moments is I took a class with Bob Lambert, who is casting for All My Children. Mm-hmm. And he was amazing. I'm so glad I took his class early on, because he took me aside after the third class and he said, Kelly, I love you. I think you're funny. I think you're smart. You're fun to talk to. But once you get up in that in front of that camera, all of what's you just disappears. And I said, oh, yeah, that could be what's going wrong. And so he said, you have to just, get into acting classes. I'd never taken an acting class in my life. Mm-hmm. I just did theater as a child. Mm-hmm. I never studied acting.
Right.
And it turns out that just because you got leads as a kid because you were loud and smiled doesn't make you a good actor.
Yeah, the criteria does change.
Yes, it does.
As you get a little bit further into the professional business. Yeah. So what did you do to work on that? I mean, it's a really good piece of advice for anybody who wants to be an actor, is to try to remember to bring yourself to it. I mean, I believe in that fully. But what did you do to in reaction to his note?
He recommended taking classes with Sande Shurin, and I took years with her. She's ongoing classes. She still teaches everyone today. Sande Shurin's amazing. She teaches you. She doesn't have a method. Mm-hmm. Her thing is to really use yourself. Mm-hmm. So you have levels of yourself. You have had the gamut of every emotion in you. Mm-hmm. So even though you've never actually killed someone, if you have a scene in which you have to actually kill someone, you can understand a moment in which you felt as if you were ready to.
Right.
That someone got you to that level.
Yes. Yeah. It makes a ton of sense to me. I actually know what she's taught. And actually for me, it was very influential to hear her talk about that really early on in my career, and think that, oh yeah, I guess I can just bring what I have with me. I don't have to go find it somewhere else. And it does make a big difference. I mean, it doesn't necessarily work for everybody. I mean, there are people who really do need to do the other kind of methods that are out there. But for me, it's like, yeah, just simply think about those moments in your life and see what you can do to bring those moments into a scene. And for me, it's always worked. So I think she's onto something there. So, and you say you still study with her today. And what else have you learned through the process? Besides, I mean, that's a pretty big one.
Right. So the first is to be able to bring yourself, and then it's to ground it so that your levels aren't off, so that you're not pushing one thing or another more. So that you're not just like saying, if you're angry, that has to come up naturally, that you don't go just from zero to just pushing, you don't push it.
Right. Right. And I guess, and that makes, again, it seems like such rudimentary stuff. It seems like such basic common sense kind of stuff. But a lot of people have to go through some pretty decent training to get to those points. And I think it's very important for everybody. So you went through that, and through the process, you've managed to do some pretty good work with some pretty good projects. What are some of the things that you have done professionally that's brought in some of the stuff that Sande taught you?
Oh, so many things. I've done a ton of commercials and films and industrials and everything that I just bring. The goal is to just go in and be me. Mm-hmm. And that sounds really easy. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people, when they say they want to be actors, they think they can just go in and be one. Because all I got to do is be me. But it's much harder to actually do that.
Right.
The camera's rolling and the words aren't yours. And you have to be genuine and likable, but still totally you. Yeah.
It is an interesting, it's an interesting discussion about, like, this is me in this scenario that's completely unfamiliar to me and that I didn't create, yet I have to be there as though I did. And I guess that's a challenge as an actor you go through all the time. The other thing I know that you've been involved with, because you do a few different things as far as performing goes, but I know you've done like spokesperson work and some journalism. So let's talk about the spokesperson stuff, because that's probably the ultimate of being you on screen. So you went from that situation where I forgot his name already, the guy who told you that you disappeared on camera. Who was that? I forgot his name.
Bob Lambert.
Bob Lambert. He said that you lost yourself on camera, but now you actually have a lot of experience being yourself on camera, being a spokesperson. What are those jobs like?
Oh, those are great. I love people and I love talking to them, as do you, obviously. You're very good at it.
I get it along.
And so I just love being me and having fun. I think when the very first gig that I started out, I put up an ad. I saw an ad on Craigslist, I think it was, looking for a reporter, and I responded. And the very first time that I was on a red carpet, it's very intimidating to be on a red carpet.
Right.
There's a lot of people, and they'll step on you, and I'm short, so some people even try and use me to prop their camera.
Nice. Very nice.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for.
That's sweet.
Camera prop. And it was for Rosie O'Donnell's charity, and 2 people before me just pissed her off, and she decided she wasn't going to answer anyone's interviews or talk to anybody. So this was my first gig out.
Nice.
And I had never done this before, and I had to prove myself. So I jumped over the red barrier, that red rope thing. And
the velvet rope.
The velvet rope.
Very cool.
And then I tackled Rosie O'Donnell.
When you say tackled, like physically tackled her,
full on
Come
tackled
on.
her. And I went, Rosie. I was like, I know that reporter really pissed you off, but this is my first time here, and I really have to ask you questions because I want to do a good job, and I didn't do anything to piss you off. And she goes, what is your name?
Wow.
And I said, Kelly. She goes, Kelly, breathe. And she said, now what is your question?
Wow. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that right there could have gone either way. And if she had been somebody else,
I could be in jail right now.
Well, that would be a very bad worst case scenario. But even in a slightly less bad scenario, you might have been turned off from doing the whole thing.
That's true. But I think that what it did was teach me that, not to that extreme, because that's obviously an extreme, but to just really be me and honest, because the reason why I got away with it is because I was so honest and passionate about what I was saying. Mm-hmm. So I think I don't go that far ever. But in my conversations, I really just try and have a good time. And, sometimes rile people up and don't let them get away with everything, because then it's just flat.
Yeah. Who have you done these red carpet things for?
I work for Hollyscoop and for Real TV Films. I've just started doing some stuff for OKTV USA. Oh. So a bunch of them.
Wow. Very nice. What would you say would be? Let's talk about some of the bigger ones you've gotten, like the bigger gets you've gotten. I'm sure you have stories.
Oh, I got to interview the late Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh, sure.
And when I interviewed him, I just said, oh my gosh, before I'm actually able to form words, I just need to bow. And so he started laughing, and then we just had a great conversation, and he's just so vulnerable and present, and you can feel him listening to you, which is kind of unnerving because you realize how often people aren't really listening to you.
That's interesting.
And it's a lot of attention. I mean, I like attention. It was a lot of it. It was very powerful. And then Michael C. Hall, I've got to interview, and he's very great. And Colin Farrell was probably the one that surprised me the most, because I didn't realize he was so funny.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, he's not known for his comedy, but I guess anybody could be funny in a moment. We sort of take for granted the range that somebody might have just based on their old, their body of work. But I guess that makes perfect sense. I
guess we'll see, because he's rumored to be in True Detective, right?
Right, but that's not a very funny show in and of itself.
We'll see his range.
Oh, his range. Yeah, I was going to say, are they starting to make it a comedy?
It's hilarious.
Well, because Vince Vaughn. I mean, Vince Vaughn is as funny Vince Vaughn, and Colin Farrell stretching himself and doing comedy. I suppose True Detective can have a whole new vibe, but
yes,
yeah.
But we digress. Bunker in Hoboken.
Yeah. We're in the bunker now. We're in the bunker
down
now.
in the trenches. I got canned goods lining the walls and big bottles of whiskey.
Yeah, you like beets, I noticed. Yeah, you like beets a lot.
Do.
I don't know if the nutritional value is enough to keep you going for 15 years, but yeah, go ahead.
I'll open a can for you.
Yeah, open up a can of beets for old Dave. I guess without naming names, do you have any negative stories? Do you have any stories that are like,
There aren't too many. I mean, there's one very well-known actress who it was obvious she was just giving out answers that were fake to play with me and the reporters, as if she thought she was above us because she was obviously bored being on the line. But people generally, they're very polished most of all. So what you're either going to get is just blanket canned beat answers, or you're going to get someone who's going to give you something good.
Yeah. Did you just use canned beat answers as like?
I did. So I was going to say canned answers, but then I just threw those beats because there's so many canned beats in here. I figured I might as well use them up.
Plus, we're improv trained, so you got to do the callback. But I wanted to just not let that lie because somebody might be listening going, "Oh, what's a canned beat answer?" But I wanted to point out that you accurately and skillfully threw in canned beats as a callback to that.
Yes,
very well done.
Thank you, Dave.
And have you done any more one-on-one interviews than just because the red carpet it's its own thing? That's
its own thing. No, I've done a lot of the ones where you sit in the director chairs and then you have the conversations. And I've done a lot of things at film festivals where I just sit there and chat with them. I've done a lot of that stuff, and that's obviously the best because you get really good. You get much better stuff out of that.
What stuff? What's something that you grab from those that really stands out for you?
It's funny because sometimes you're given questions and sometimes you can create your own questions. And it's funny that sometimes the questions that you're given and everybody just wants tabloid type answers. And you have to ask those questions and you're having this great rapport and they're laughing and then you're trying to figure out how to worm your tabloid like question in. And then all of a sudden you see their body going from ha 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 to as if they just like
Do you ever have sort of any what's the word I'm looking for, like crisis of conscience when you have to do that kind of stuff? For me, it would be because I don't sit here when I'm doing this, and this is obviously not on the level of Access Hollywood or TMZ or anything like that, so it wouldn't be appropriate anyway.
I did catch it going through my garbage to see if there was any good scandalous stuff in there.
I was hungry.
Oh, that explains it.
Yeah, that was much more of a human need thing.
Plus, more beats.
Yeah, I was looking for some beats, and obviously I know where they found. You're hoarding them, so we're not going to be in the garbage. That's for sure. So do you ever have a crisis of conscience, or how do you feel about people who go after like really personal stuff like that?
It's really hard. I do have crisis of conscience over it. It's not my favorite thing, but it just happens to be the questions that most of society wants answered. So if you're going to be an entertainment journalist, then they want to know these specific questions. That's just the way, unfortunately, the world is.
Yeah.
There's not a lot on the news channels, even on regular news, about, happy-go-lucky, just tell us your great, funny stories.
It's true. Yeah. My career, I started in news, and it wasn't long before I realized, there are people who get the job and can do the job and can, without blinking, ask those questions that are really tough. And I'm not just talking about like tabloid answers, but like interviewing victims' families and things like that. And I realized that it's really hard to do. And I give credit to people who can do that and have this can look past everything else and just do the job. But for me, it was almost impossible. I guess there's very few instances when you're doing red carpet where you're talking to victims' families, but
No, but I did almost once get killed.
Tell me about it.
Yes, Kanye West almost ate me.
This is perfect. Okay, well, This is the kind of juicy stuff that I was hoping to bring up.
And I just names people because he's seriously, and I'm a mighty midget and he scared even me. All 5'3" of me was very, very terrified.
Even with your kickboxing skills.
I know. Yeah. You wouldn't think so. But so we were at Fashion Week and I was supposed to ask him, this was years ago, and I was supposed to ask him about the Chris Brown Rihanna situation.
Oh, jeez.
And he just went, it was like the opposite of that. He just went, and he goes, how could you ask me that? And he just goes to attack me and his men hold him back. And his jaw was open like you would imagine a big bear or wolf about to eat me.
Oh my God. Do you have that on video?
In my brain, it plays all the time.
Oh, I'm sure for you, but you didn't have anything rolling when that happened?
Unfortunately not. I just had my actual tape recorder thing.
Oh, so you weren't even doing like man on the street. What do you call that when you're doing the red carpet, but you're there with a camera and a microphone that you're interviewing? What do they call that?
That interviewing. No, that's just regular journalism. The man on the street is more asking people's opinions, random opinions about things.
Right. But what you were doing with Kanye West, you just had a recorder. So there's a term that defines one versus the other, and I can't think of it.
Yeah, one's an on-camera reporter, and then one's just, I guess it's more journalism or like a press, regular press.
So who were you covering that for?
That was for Hollyscoop, too.
But you were doing just not print, but a written version.
Well, I happened to be walking around and saw him, so my camera guy was at, and I had my recorder on me, and being the overzealous girl I am, I'm like, I'm gonna nail a good interview. But I didn't know I was going to get eaten.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
So like when you go to something like Fashion Week and you're kind of just milling around, I mean, you have access to pretty much anybody you want. I mean, what is that like?
Well, you have to just go after them and try and get the interview and see if you can.
But you're in and mixing it around with everybody who's at the event, because I'm sure you've seen that when you have an event like that, it's surrounded by people wishing they could be on the inside.
Exactly.
But you're on the inside.
I was in there.
Wow. How do you get treated when you're in there? Because I mean, do you feel like they treat you as the press, even though you're in there, or? It all
depends on the people. I think it's the same thing in whether or not someone's going to give you a canned beat answer or make you laugh or give you something good. People are either going to be open to discussions or they're not.
Right.
I think that the way that they treat you is the way that they would probably treat most people.
Wow.
So I don't expect everyone to be nice.
Right.
I would like it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess it's sort of like a microcosm of anywhere, really.
Only nice people are allowed in my bunker.
Your bunker with your beats.
With my beats. You are welcome because you were nice.
Well, I've done all right then. I will put that on my wall in some fashion. The other side of the journalism stuff you do, I know you do a lot of stuff written. I'm stuck for terminology because I'm stuck in 1994. So I'm like, you do print journalism, but print journalism isn't print anymore. So it's like, I guess, electronic journalism,
right.
But being on camera, that's also electronic. So you write stuff.
I also write stuff.
Yeah.
I take the words and put them down.
Out of college, you found that it was not a viable career to be an editorial as a writer, but you found yourself back in it. What kind of stuff are you doing now? Tell me what you're involved with.
Oh, so much. So I have I'm working on a YA psychological thriller.
Mm-hmm.
And so I actually just returned from a writer's retreat weekend where I got a lot of feedback, and I entered a contest called Pitch Wars, and I have these two amazing writers who are mentoring me, Trisha Lever and Lindsay Curry, and they have a book called Creed coming out in November. So after you get off of here and you check out Seaview Playwrights Children's Theater, also everybody go out and buy Creed.
Yeah.
Do it.
Creed.
Buy Creed. CREED.
Maybe we'll even throw up a link to the Amazon page.
See, here's the problem.
Oh, no.
We're not supposed to buy books on Amazon anymore.
Oh, I forgot. There's a whole big thing. Oh, my
goodness. There's a whole big thing, everybody.
Yeah.
Breaking news from the bunker of Hoboken.
So you should really only buy printed hardcover versions of books from your local bookseller.
Or Barnes & Noble's still good. Yeah, nobody's thrown a spear at Barnes & Noble quite yet. Yet,
as of this recording.
Right.
When you say YA, just for the uninitiated, I think I know what you're talking about.
Young adult.
Tell me about what defines something as a young adult novel, because it's kind of ambiguous. But what do you define it as?
It means that the protagonists and most of the main characters are all between the ages of, say, like 16 and 18. And then it's usually read by an audience of, say, 14 and up.
Yeah. So the book you want, can you detail it all, or is it all kind of hush-hush?
Can't be too silent because we're not supposed to have any more minutes of silence.
That's right. We're trying to fill in as much as possible.
Every second.
That's right.
It's about a group of kids who take a trip to Costa Rica and they play all these games on a girl to the point that she doesn't know what's real or not.
Oh, interesting.
Exactly.
That's a pretty good elevator pitch.
Yes.
What inspired the idea?
I've been psychologically tortured.
Oh, come on now. As we sit in your bunker in Hoboken.
With my bright blue walls. Don't you you guys can't see my bright blue paint.
It is very cheery and bright.
Exactly.
It's getting a lot of sun coming through here. So I don't exactly know that you might be psychologically coddled, but I don't know about tortured. You're on the other end of things. You've been held in the cradle of New Jersey so long.
Aw, thank you, New Jersey.
that you've lost touch with reality, and that's how they control you.
I totally agree. I've lost touch with reality, but I'm not sure about it. It's because of being coddled.
That could be several reasons. These days, who knows?
But yeah, no, I'm always very aware of when people are hurting each other and things like that. So I'm very interested in psychological issues. So my main character also deals with paranoia. She suffers from paranoia. And so I put that in there too. So there's levels of how much are they really tormenting her, or how much is she over exaggerating in her head? What's real, what's not. So it's riveting.
Yeah. I mean, obviously your compassion is where it starts, but where, what inspired the idea to begin with? I mean, it
really was my own psychological torture. I wasn't joking. No, I was made fun of a lot as a kid.
Oh, all right.
And people, just like you had just said, like, people would think that isn't true because I'm very outgoing and happy and just always joking. And
to be honest, like I think anybody you talk to can it's kind of trite because there's like those memes that go around that say, hey, that girl who's kind of weird, you don't know the stuff that's going on at home. But I think it's true that you can't assume anything about anybody's story. So, I mean, what happened? I mean, if you don't mind sharing, I mean.
I don't really even know. I think I spent a lot of time trying to figure out why I was kind of odd man out. I think I was awkward. I think I was precocious. I was a straight A student who liked to sit in the front of class and raise my hand and answer questions. I kind of set myself up to be an easy target, I think.
Interesting. Yeah. And this was on Staten Island?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't go there, people. Stay in your bunkers in Hoboken. All the nice people are welcome here. Like in Walking Dead, I'm going to have those signs up that say all the nice people proceed to the bunker in Hoboken.
Now I'm questioning what is actually in these cans of beets. If you follow the storyline of Walking Dead,
yes,
I'm kind of scared.
And I love horror, so you should be scared.
So you say you don't have fun thoughts of Staten Island?
Staten Island's fine.
Oh, okay, all right.
And they have the best pizzeria, Lee's Tavern. So while you're reading Creed.
That you've purchased from Barnes & Noble.
From Barnes & Noble, go get yourself some amazing pizza. And Lee's Tavern.
That's right. And while you're eating your pizza, you can mosey on over to the Children's Theater and take in a show.
Exactly. High five. High five. That was a good tie-in, people.
There we go.
That was a good tie-in. Good job, Dave.
Hey, I do my best.
You earned more beats.
You mentioned your novel set in Costa Rica. Have you been to Costa Rica?
No, I should go. But I've Google Earthed the hell out of it.
Yeah, I guess you can do that today,
I see all the roads there, and I have it beginning on Highway 32, which is Costa Rica's route of death. And there are tons of videos that people have made inside the car as they drive it.
Oh, geez.
So even though I have not personally been in a car on that road, I didn't need to be there. I've watched 10 videos. They're 20 minutes long each of,
just someone
this
driving.
Road. Yeah.
So you've lived through it virtually. That's something that you couldn't have done 20, 25 years ago.
God, I would have had to gone to a card catalog and looked up information.
But you couldn't even virtually experience it that way, which is interesting.
Microfiche, right? Microfiche.
I think it was designed to just make it as unpleasant as possible to find information. They wanted to just make it so people could remain stupid.
Most people listening to this are right now like, what's microfiche?
Oh man, if you didn't know I don't know what my demographic is yet on this show.
No.
So if you're wondering,
it's not like 100 years old, then they probably don't know what microfiche is.
You've just aged us significantly by more than twice. My math isn't that better than yours, but I think you've made us more than twice as old as we are.
100.
Yeah. So microfiche used to be this thing where you'd have to look up a subject and hope that they had, I guess it was a film, like an animation cell that you had to take to a machine that put light through the microfiche so you can actually read the article that you were looking for. And it took about a day and a half to read one page of stuff. and then you gave up and you just made up the rest of your paper and handed it in 8th grade. At least that's what I did.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was not a straight A student, mostly because of microfiche. And to this day, I couldn't tell you how to even find anything on microfilm. And thank God for Google, because it's the only thing that's keeping me from being a complete and utter idiot.
Seriously, I don't have to think. I just look it up. Somebody asked me a question the other day and they said, you don't know the answer? And I said, I don't have to, but I'll have it to you in a second.
Yeah. It takes all there are times, there was a time when I was in my early 20s, I think.
Like yesterday.
Yes, right. It was yesterday, and I like to exaggerate my stories and the timelines therein, where I couldn't remember how the theme to 8 is Enough went, and it tortured me for weeks, and nobody around me knew. And as far as like our ability to look things up when I was in my young 20s, if the people around you didn't know, you were done. I mean, that was your resource for finding out.
So true.
You couldn't rent 8 is Enough. They didn't make.
You're either smart or stupid.
You suffered.
You had to.
You stayed up late going, oh my God, what was the robot's name on Get Smart? Because you couldn't find this information anywhere. And
but I think is most funny is that speaking of having a coddled life, the thing that tortures you most is not being able to remember a theme song. Like that's how hard your life is, Dave. Like that's how nice and coddled your life has been. That the most tortured moment of your life was not being able to remember the theme song from 8 is Enough.
Yeah, I own that. I'll take it because honestly, I mean, compared to somebody who's actually gone through any amount of suffering, I have been eating like devil's food cookies my whole life. That's pretty much. Did you ever have those devil's food cookies? By the way, you grew up in the New York area. Did you ever eat those? Which one? Like with the black and then the cream in the middle? Yeah. Well, they were like there was like a hard like a shell almost. Are you thinking like Malamars? They were like as if Malamars, but were devil's food. Because I have Malamars in the bunker too. Oh wow! I do only for special guests, and you are one. This is becoming the best bunker I've seen yet. I mean, this is the 12th. I think that I'm around 12 interviews, and yours bunker is by far the best one that I've done an interview in. Beets and Malamars, baby, we got it. Beets and Malamars is like a rounded, it's like a full meal. I'm trying to think if you're thinking of like a yodel. No, they were called Devil's Food Cookies. Devil's Food Cookies. And I'm wondering if somebody listening to this is like, oh, yes, I totally remember that. Oh, my gosh, I don't. And the funny thing is, if they do remember them and they want to know about them, you can look it up on Google now. Right, exactly. Just 25 years ago, we would have just been going nuts trying to remember what the heck those were. All night and day, I would stay up just trying to imagine what it is. Exactly. And now I'm just going to, as soon as this ends, and after I go to CV Playwrights Theater and I buy Creed and I have my pizza, I'm going to find out what the Devil's Food Cookies. We've done a herald at this point. I wanted to go back to the reporting thing because it's interesting to me. You went to Sundance, right? Yes, I go to Sundance every year. How many times have you been to Sundance? Like 10 or more. What's that experience? Because I mean, I've been this much in a couple of things that have been at Sundance, but I've never gone. So tell me what it's like, at least in your experience. What is it like? Oh, it's utopia. Everybody is so happy, and the Main Street is really quaint, and there's all these hidden parties going on that you get some invites to, and sometimes you just crash them because you're only 5'3" and you slip through small cracks in the walls. And everyone's dressed in boots and jeans and coats, and it's very low key and happy and fun. What? Geez, I mean, who have you typically seen walking around, or what? Like, are there people just out on the street? Because I get the sense that the Sundance Film Festival, there's only so much space there is, so it's not like anybody can go and hide and be in little nooks and crannies. So you pretty much invariably are going to run into pretty much anybody you want. Everybody's on the streets. Yeah. So, like, have you seen stuff? I mean, tons. Are you privy to things that would be fun to talk about? I have all the secrets in the world. Oh boy. But they have to die with me. No, you do. It's just a lot of fun. Have I seen anybody be wild? I'm trying to. Not even wild. It's just something that struck you, because I mean, we're living vicariously through you now, and being a 10-year Sundance veteran. So like, you gotta have something.
I think maybe I'm too mountain sickness high to notice when I'm out there. No, it's just really chill there. There's not that much crazy stuff going on.
Oh, that's interesting.
People are just relaxed and watching films and
so it's like snowboarding. It's what it's intended to be?
It's actually what it's intended to be.
That's disappointing.
Oh my God, but it's amazing.
I'm sure. It's like I want to have a really good reason to go out there, especially, so if nobody's going to pay me to go out there, I'm going to have to go out on my own dime. I want to do it because I have a really good reason to do it.
It's worth it. Go out and podcast.
It's an idea.
And Slamdance goes on at the same time. So there's just all types of opportunities to get into trouble.
But apparently there's no trouble to be had because everybody's so chill.
Well, what happens at Sundance has got to stay at Sundance.
See, you have stories and you're not okay. I understand. I protect your sources.
I plan to keep going back there year after year.
That's true. I mean, you could just, leave out names and just help me out a little. No, it's okay.
You guys can't see, but he's trying to pump truth serum into me right now.
I'm bribing you with a devil's food cookie and the knowledge they contain.
I'm easy. I'd fall for that.
So the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, you've done some recreation shows, right? As an actor.
Recreation shows.
You've done shows where they recreate events that happen in history. I haven't ever done one of those.
They're fun. Investigation discovery.
Yeah. Have you done what is that? How do you get into doing that as an actor? Because you're playing somebody who went through a fairly harrowing experience usually.
Yes.
So for you, what's it like getting prepared to play? And whom have you played before?
Well, I think that it just goes back to that same thing that we said before, that I understand fear, and I've never been chased. Like one of the people I recently played for On the Case with Paula Zahn was a girl who was chased down by her boyfriend and killed in the woods and strangled with a shoelace. See, there you go. I mean, that's a situation I assume you've never been in. No, I've never been in that exact situation, but you get the idea of being so scared that you need to run. And then you have the other actor who's actually running after you and then grabbing your ankle, and then you're falling on the floor. And we actually filmed this when it was 32 degrees outside. So I was already shivering and so cold. And then I slammed down on the dirt, muddy ground that's also freezing cold, and that all helps you just be honestly shocked and scared. Yeah, you can kind of be in the moment there. Yeah. Wow. Is that the most intense one you've done? That one probably was. And then we did a pickup scene in which we did it in Central Park, the pickup scene. And it's the scene where they find the girl's body buried underneath a pile of rocks and stones and sticks and everything. And so they buried me. I was laying on the ground. They buried me with all this stuff. Wow. And then at one point, the director says, "Hey, Kelly, you have to sit up," because a group of school kids was walking by and all thought I was a dead body. Oh. I know. So you could have inspired the next young adult author. Yes. I developed a lot of mental issues now with all these kids and night tremors and the next best horror film writers and filmmakers. Fantastic. Exactly. I mean, you are, I believe the children of the future. So there you go. Scare it all into them. Anything else you have in the works? Yes, I just finished doing a pilot called Too Many Moms with Rock City Productions. It's a hilarious story about a precocious kid and a really overprotective mother-in-law, and there's just a lot of great antics that go back and forth. And I play in the pilot episode a zany nanny. So zany, though, unfortunately, that I don't think that I could come back in the series unless they gave the character a lobotomy. Mm-hmm. Which is possible. Write that in, lobotomy. I could play brain dead. Sure. So, and it's just a really fun story, and that's going to come out. They're going to have the premiere in December. They're hoping for. Cool. They're going to premiere locally, or where are they? In New York. Yeah. Who's involved in that one? A team called Rock City Productions. Right. But anybody like the performers in it? Big name wise, I mean, we all are big names. Of course. I figured we just throw them a plug. Exactly. But it is up there on Too Many Moms, Rock City Productions. Everyone can look that up after they find whatever devil's food cookies are. They have a lot of work to do. I think there's like a list of things. Like a homework assignment. I know. It's usually not much. It's usually not this much work for somebody to be engaged in
listening to this podcast, but I think after this one, it's definitely going to inspire a lot of Googling, I think.
Well, yeah, I think all that athleticism of my husband, swim, bike, running, constantly doing. So I guess like I'm constantly moving too, and then I'm trying to inspire everybody.
Yes.
So this podcast is going to get people up off their seats and moving.
It's an energizing podcast.
It is.
Time. I believe so.
That's my
So you're heavily in, but you're very available online.
I am.
How do people find your various ventures?
I am on Twitter at Kelly Calabrese and on Facebook, Kelly A. Calabrese. And what else I got? I mean, and then I have a hosting website, Kelly Calabrese Writer at blogspot.com.
And that's your hosting website.
That has a bunch of my hosting stuff up there.
Okay, so that's where you find your hosting stuff, but it's called Kelly Calabrese Writer, which is interesting.
Because of the writing portion.
Well, I get that.
I know this so confuses you. There's sometimes I'm on camera and sometimes I'm off camera and sometimes I'm writing. Oh my goodness.
Nobody can live at that speed.
It's like a triathlon. It's my own triathlon. It's 3 things at once.
You say you're not as much of an athlete as your husband, but clearly you have as much on your table.
I just create my own trifectas.
Well, thanks for doing this. I appreciate it.
It's been a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you. And let's end with 10 seconds of silence.
Oh my God, no silence. I can't handle the silence.
That's great.
And that's Kelly Calabrese. Lots of fun, lots of energy. It was a fun conversation and chock full of info. And with that, we're going to put up plenty of links on the website, bringyourownlunch.com, so you can find out more about Kelly's background in Staten Island, like the pizza place she loves, the theater she used to perform at. We'll get some links for the production company behind her pilot. So we'll take care of you. Go to bringyourownlunch.com and we'll take care of that. But for the basics, you can go to Kelly's website. It's kellycal.com. That's KELLYCAL.com. Or you can follow her on Twitter at Kelly Calabrese. Thank you, Kelly, for being here, and keep eating them beets. Can't beat the beets. That'll do it for another edition of Bring Your Own Lunch. Of course, got to thank Banuba for providing the music. Banuba.net. Find out where they will be, where they're going, and we'll download some of their music because they're great. Go to nysfso.com for continued information about the New York Short Film Shootout and the upcoming NYSFSO 4. We'll let you know when the date is as soon as we can nail that down. And you could always go to our website, bringyourownlunch.com. You can follow us on Twitter at BYOL Podcast. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/bringyourownlunch. And, of course, rate, review, subscribe, share on iTunes, because that's the best way you can help us keep on going and getting more people on board as we move ahead, bringing this podcast to you every week. Stay tuned for the Jimmy Jack Cowpunch Hour, followed by Mansoor and the Fish. And until next week, when we'll have another great guest, this is Dave. I'll see you next Tuesday.